Hello and welcome. This is gonna be the first episode of a 5-part miniseries. Before this video begins, I just want to mention that the decision of making this into a miniseries instead of just one long episode was kind of made on a whim, so you're gonna notice an awkward chop between the first and the second part, and potentially on the end of the second part as well. Without further ado though, please enjoy the video. Take care. It's been a while since I've just sat and talked in front of a camera. Let's hope I'm a bit more confident now. I'm home alone so I can speak freely. I'm still nervous. Today I figure I wanted to talk a bit about my experience with being trans. I figure that's, kind of important to talk about for me, at least right now, because I want to document my journey, and some people have already tagged along, which is so sweet. Thank you. So you're gonna learn a lot about me today, and I'm honestly really excited for it. I'm sorry if you can hear the wind in the background. It's storming. I don't know if that was much of an intro, but I reckon we just get started. It's a very personal subject for me. It's something that I can get a bit embarrassed about. Talk to my friends and family about it, but they would ask me questions out of curiosity and just to get to know my experience and stuff like that, and I would answer that, but I don't know how much detail I would go into. I figure I'll just make a whole video and just talk about more or less everything trans related, at least. First of all, I'm gonna talk about my backstory, how I grew up around the subject of trans people. And I'm gonna talk about coming out and my family's reactions and future goals, I suppose, for my transitioning. And I'm gonna talk about mental stuff and dysphoria. I suppose that's a bit of a trigger warning. If you're sensitive to this kind of topic, I don't recommend watching this video, because I'm gonna, talk about that. I actually learned about the trans community from an extremely young age. I was in kindergarten when I was first introduced to it. Basically, a friend of mine had a father that was a trans guy, and she was holding a birthday or something. So this was the first time I got to meet her dad. I think he was pre-testosterone, because he had a very light and feminine voice, like I do. And my mom, she was by the way, if you're curious about why he has such a light voice, it was because he was born as a woman, but he is transitioning into a man. And I was just okay, cool. I never really grew up with the topic being a negative thing. I was so neutral about it, because nobody talked bad about it around me. Hell, other than that, nobody really talked about it at all. It was just a thing that I now knew you could do. And the funny thing is that I didn't realize how much I related to it until I was much older, but we'll get into that. All the way from in kindergarten, I always felt like I was hiding something. For example, if I was with a group of my friends, because I had primarily female friends, and so if anyone would miss, okay, where was I? If anyone was referring to me and my group of friends, they would be oh, hey girls, by the way, come over here, let me show you something. So I never thought about the fact that I wasn't a girl. I just thought oh, if I wasn't, and if I was secretly a boy or something, then I would be able to disguise myself as a girl and everyone would believe me. And yeah, that's just, I don't even know why. I mean, I do know why, let's be real, it's because I'm a trans guy. But I don't know why I had that specific thought process instead of just thinking but I'm not a girl. As I started to hit puberty, I started to get a lot of insecurities about my body. For example, I was gaining a lot of weight. I was eating so much food. First of all, it was kind of embarrassing because, you know, when I was like very little, I was just a little person. Like, I was skinny and all that. And all of a sudden, I just started to get very stressed and found comfort in eating food. And then obviously my body started to grow, and as I hit puberty, I started to get more feminine curves and all that, and that stressed me out even more. And so I started to eat more, and it was just like an evil circle that I really struggled to get out of. It just really affected my gender dysphoria, and I had no idea, at least yet. I started to eventually, as I started to watch more videos about involving the trans and just general LGBT community and stuff, I started to worry that what if I'm not exclusively to guys, and what if I'm not cisgender? And I just kept trying to really convince myself that, like, no, you're a girl and you're 100% into guys and yada yada yada. That was like from age 14 to 16ish, and obviously I started to deny it less and less. I mean, here I am now, you know. At first, I was like, okay, maybe I am not 100% straight, and maybe I'm not 100% cis. So I did a lot of Googling, and at first I was like, okay, maybe I'm a demi-girl, you know, like, which, if you don't know what that is within the spectrum of, like, you're kind of a girl, but you're also kind of, I wouldn't say non-binary because it differs from person to person, but part girl, part non-binary / gender non-conforming / gender fluid, you know? And then eventually I was like, well, okay, I don't feel like much of a girl anymore. And it's beyond just a feeling, it's like, you can feel it in your bones. If that makes, it doesn't make sense. I'm not even gonna. So maybe I'm non-binary, and so I went with that for a while. Some of my closest internet friends, they were like, okay, we'll use they, them pronouns on you, which they're amazing. Thank you so much, you know who you are. Then eventually, I was like, actually, I feel a little bit masculine. And I started to think like, okay, maybe I'm a demi-boy. And so I was like, okay, I go by he, them pronouns. And eventually I was just like, you know what, I think I'm just a guy. Sure, I do have my feminine traits, but I don't feel like it's a part of my gender. And also, I just want to say right now that a lot of people confuse this, and they'll like see, for example, a non-binary person or anyone in that sort of spectrum and be like, oh, it's just a stepping stone towards like wanting to be the opposite gender. And that is not the case. It was just me being a confused mess and wanting to label things immediately because, you know, it's scary to not know what is going on, and I just wanted a word for it as soon as possible. But there's also like a ton of people that feel non-binary and then they just stay there, and I just want you to know that it's very important to note, because I have seen it on the internet, and I have seen a lot of people in the like around the non-binary spectrum get a lot of flack because like, oh, you're just confused, or oh, you're just using it as a stepping stone, and no. Usually they're not. Again, I was just really confused, and I used whatever label fit the best in the moment. So yeah. That was it for the first part of the series. I hope you enjoyed the video. First of all, I just want to say thank you to all the people that have decided to join me so early on. It really means a lot, and all the love and support in the comments genuinely made me kind of emotional, and it was a little bit overwhelming as well, but in like a very good way. I'm just happy that I have people that want to listen to what I have to say. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.